had this huge business, killing it. Would go spend my money like an idiot sometimes, partying, right? It was fun. Went bankrupt. When I was a kid, I didn't do well in school. And I'll never forget, I was called into the principal's office and my parents were also called in and they were told that I was the only one not gonna graduate. But we raised 17 million USD. We're only in 7,500 stores across Canada and the United States. Some of our competitors are in 60,000 because I'm a bad operator, I'm a bad manager, I'm not a good CEO, and I'm not good with operation.
Karls, welcome to the Startup Podcast. We're so happy to have you here today. You're a co-founder and rainmaker at Midday Squares, a chocolate factory based in Montreal. You've been featured in the Forbes magazine 30 under 30 annual list. That's crazy.
That was fun.
That's how I know you.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Cool. Kim Kardashian recently organically mentioned Midday Squares in a Vogue interview. You've been sued by Hershey's. You're currently on your way to hit $100 million in revenue. And you're here today. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you. So for the people listening, like we've been talking for like 15 minutes and we were talking about great stuff. So we were like, we need to get rolling and get that on the tape. So first off, like we'd like to dive in a bit in your personal background and get to know like how did you start in the business industry?
Oh yeah, first of all, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about this. I think my story started when I was a kid and I was always like not good academically. I don't know about you two, but I didn't do well in school. And I thought because society puts you in like a box, if you don't do well, you are the outlier. You are the weird one or the one that, you know, people kind of make fun of, unfortunately. And I was always insecure. I always felt like, am I dumb? Am I a loser? Am I not going to win in life? You know, and that made me really insecure for many, many years during high school. And I'll never forget, I was called into the principal's office and my parents were also called in and they were told that I was the only one not going to graduate. So in that moment, I got really anxious and I was like, everyone in life is technically going to move forward and I'm going to move backwards. And that was when I decided I'm going to take my academics seriously, and I took them seriously. I did well. I went to college, studied to be an actuary, and again, I did it not because I wanted to. I did it because I wanted to prove to people that I was academically smart or that I had this ability to not be dumb. And I use these words because this is how I felt. And I felt really like internally I was burning inside. And I decided to be an actuary. And actuary is basically deep statistics and math. Great job if you get it. You get paid very well right out of college. And then I ended up failing and doing horrible. And in the third year of Western University where I went to school in Ontario, I was watching Shark Tank, that show, Dragon's Den Shark Tank. And I was watching this individual on the screen, this entrepreneur, and he was pitching his dream. He must have been like 50, 55 years old. He had kids. He had 2 mortgages on his house. He was really going through, like, in my opinion, if I went through that, I would be crying. I'd be like scared shitless. You could lose everything in your life, right? But he looked so free and happy and so excited and energetic and passionate. And in that moment, I looked at the screen and I was like, I was sulking, I was putty, I was like, whatever. I was like, I need that. I need that freedom. And that was the moment I decided business was where I was going to go. And I stopped caring about the actuarial stuff. I ended up just graduating from another program that I could just get as easily out of school as possible. And I launched my first business, which was a fitness business. I used to be jacked. I used to look like I was on steroids. I want to get back to that, to be honest, because I looked hot, you know, like 6-pack, like I was going partying all the time. I was in my phase, you know, my life, single.
Yeah, we've seen that. We did some good stalking.
Yeah. Social media has a bunch of it still up there. But I used to go out, I used to work from 5 a.m. till about 9 p.m. every day, training people outside. I used my personality to get clients. I would go on social media, post myself, training people outside. And in Montreal, it's cold weather throughout the year. So when you want to be outside in the summer, so I had this huge business, killing it, financially killing it, would go spend my money like an idiot, sometimes partying after and with all my clients, right? It was fun. I did that for 3 years and then I closed 2.5 years and I closed that business and I closed it because I lost passion for fitness. I stopped loving it the way I used to love it. And this is really important for any entrepreneur listening, is when you lose passion for something, it's time to kind of move on, because how much longer will you be willing to hit the bat as many times or hit the nail until you're just so angry? You build so much tension and you're not doing what you love anymore. Entrepreneurship is about obviously solving a problem or doing something creative, but it's also doing what you love. It's the ability to enter into a zone of freedom and do what you love. And the moment that's gone, you got to stop, even if you're making millions of dollars. And I stopped and I launched a second business, which was basically a party business. I would go on college campuses, I love partying obviously, and throw parties and then sell clothing, like little t-shirts that had a logo on it. And I used social media to build the hype, and it was working from a brand standpoint, but it was failing financially because I'm a bad operator, I'm a bad manager, I'm not a good CEO, and I'm not good with operations. So I ended up doing that 2.5 years and it went bankrupt. Lost, I think, $86,000 on that. Crazy. At 24, 25 years old, you're like kind of panicking. You just lost $87,000. And that's when my sister and my brother-in-law approached me, who are my partners today, and they said, we have this chocolate bar, healthy chocolate bar, and we want you to be our third partner. And we want you to do what you're best at. Tell the story, build the brand, be the hype person. And I was like, well, what does that job entail? They're like, just be you. And in that moment, I was kind of like, is that a job to just be yourself? Like, what does that mean? So I had to put some capital in. I ended up getting, my girlfriend at the time broke up with me out of nowhere. And I was depressed. And thank God she did, to be honest with you. Like, I should shout her out. Her name's Summer. She's awesome. She's a rock star. But she broke up with me out of nowhere after a 3.5-year relationship. And I was kind of in a mental state where I was like, I wanted to stop doing everything. I was just like, I don't have energy to be an entrepreneur anymore. I don't have energy for anything. I felt like I needed her back at the time. And in that moment, you kind of are desperate for things, right? Yeah. And when they approached me, my sister and brother-in-law, with the opportunity, it kind of said to me, well, wait, this could be a great distraction. I can no longer throw parties. Like I didn't have that energy. And I was like, this could be an unbelievable distraction for me and I could be my strength. And so I did it and it took my mind off that. It took my mind off, like, you know, the depression that I was in. And I started to give all my time to Midday Squares. And we were working from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. every day, rinse, repeat. And I ended up getting over her. And I went on a little bit of a single spree for a little bit, but ended up having fun. And then we launched Midday Squares. So I've been an entrepreneur now almost a decade. And obviously we can get into how Midday Squares is doing, but that's where it led me to. And again, I think that even though I wasn't making money along part of that journey, I felt free. And the freedom is worth more than money, in my opinion. The freedom allows you to be yourself and to actually do what you want to do. And, you know, yes, there's days that are absolutely treacherous and, you know, you want to throw the towel and you're crying, you go to your therapist, you know, you just want to give up. But then there's those days where you feel like you're on top of the world, which is like you feel like a superhero and unstoppable. And I think that mix is what life is. And it's not just the good, but it's the good, the bad, the ugly. Yes. And I'm grateful that I've been on this journey. And again, I don't know if I can go back to not being an entrepreneur ever again.
No,
I don't think so.
I think you never come back from this. If it's in your ADN, like that.
DNA.
Yes. I have a question.
ADN sounds better.
Yeah, sounds cool.
How did you went from a school guy that didn't make the paper from actuaria?
Oh yeah,
I think,
great question.
Like, not just a back, genre,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, I'm happy you guys know what an actuary is, because not everyone knows what it is. It's the most difficult. It's the fucking hardest program. It's 20 kids that do it. So the reason why I did it was not because I even knew what it was. I didn't know what it was. My brother one day, who's an entrepreneur as well, he doesn't work with us, but he's an entrepreneur. He said to me when I was picking for my colleges, he knew that I was starting to care more about my academics, even though I was struggling inside my body. I felt miserable. I felt unhappy. But he said to me, oh, if you become an actuary, you're going to be like, it's so little people that do it. And it's so hard, and you'll make a lot of money. And in my head, I'm like, money, hard, proof to everyone that I'm no longer the class clown. Yes. This is an opportunity. So what I did is I didn't get into McGill, I didn't get into Concordia, I didn't get into HEC, I didn't get to any of the Quebec schools, actually. I didn't get into a lot of the schools I wanted to go to, but I got into Western, which is in London, Ontario. Again, it's a party school, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm grateful that I went there. But I went there and I went to the program, and trust me, when I went to the class, there was 100 people in the program, and then it shrunk to 20. Because actuary is the hardest thing. But in my mind, I was so addicted to showing to everybody that I could prove everyone wrong and I could do it. The truth is I didn't do it, though. In the end, I failed. But I did 3 years, and those 3 years were so miserable because I didn't like what I was doing. But I was doing it because I wanted to show to my friends, my family, and people around me that I'm smart, in quotations. But that was just an imposter syndrome. That was just me comparing myself to people and me not being authentic to who I was. Authenticity, when you embrace your authenticity, it's when you start winning. You win big, your wings fly. When you're not embracing your authenticity and you're being somebody else or trying to be somebody else, everything falls apart. And that's why I felt that like emptiness inside, or that deep depression and loneliness. It was because I wasn't true to myself. I was trying to show you, or I was showing my parents that, hey, I could actually do it. And it's okay not to win. And it's okay to fail, by the way. I failed. Yeah. And I didn't have the grades. And, you know, I lost money in a business. I went bankrupt on a business. Failing is not, it doesn't mean you're a loser or you're lower than somebody or, you know, inferior. It actually is an opportunity for you to learn and understand yourself more. And if you take that, then losing is never a loss. It's always a win. So I always say to people, make on average decisions every day. Ones that don't actually you know, they could lead to a very horrible thing or a very good thing, because at least you're not average. If you're average, you're like everyone in the pack.
I'm so sorry. Average. What is this word?
Moyenne.
Moyenne. Okay.
Moyenne, comme, like, it means just like.
Fais pas ce que tout le monde fait.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, like where the pack goes.
Yes.
Tous les personnes vont là, you go there.
Okay, perfect.
So that was the decision. I said unaverage decisions will equal unaverage outcomes, meaning an outlier.
Yes.
So good or bad, but at least good, you're good, and bad, you learn. But a lot of people look at bad as failure means that you're lower or weaker. And that's just incorrect. And I think it's your mindset that makes the difference. And if you could build your mindset to understand that, you have a very good chance at winning. Even if you're in a job, forget about entrepreneurship, you could love what you do in a job and kill it and be the best of the best. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in a job just for the sake of doing a job and you're there for a paycheck and that's it, that's all, eventually it's going to go like this.
Oh, that's for sure.
Here and here, right? So anyways, that was my journey of getting to where I am. But again, I'm still not perfect. I have a lot to learn. But I'm 30 years old now, and I started when I was 20, basically, when I was 20 in entrepreneurship, 2021.
Nice.
It's really interesting. And can you tell us a bit more about, like, okay, you said Midday Square started with your sister and your brother-in-law wanting to launch the company, but earlier we were talking about the fact that you decided to go in this industry specifically and not choose to like have another product, like now you have chocolate bars and all that. So what was their thought process? Were you like implicated in that thought process?
So my sister and my brother-in-law started the business by making it as, my sister is making it as a snack, a chocolate snack for her husband, before Midday Squares existed, because she's a foodie. She loves food, and she basically said to her husband, my brother-in-law, that she could make him something healthier. That's for the afternoon, because he was eating chocolate like Lindt, Hershey's, sugar, palm oil, all this stuff that's not really good for you, and he's getting stomach aches and he's getting tired. And she's like, let me make you something with plant-based proteins, because they were plant-based at the time, and something that's low sugar, that's clean. And she made him this for 2 years prior to Midday Squares, 2.5 years prior, and then she ended up closing her fashion business, and he ended up selling out of a software business, and they always want to work together on a business, and food was both their passions. So they had this chocolate snack in front of them, and they read an article or a report that showed that dark chocolate was growing year over year very fast, and vegan proteins, plant-based proteins were also growing. And my brother-in-law, being a software engineer, was like, oh my God, Leslie, you're making a baby of these two big categories, chocolate bar meets health bar, but not a protein bar and not just a milk chocolate bar. And that's when they came to me. They're like, hey, we got this product. And it was July of 2018, I'll never forget. And they're like, we've got this amazing chocolate bar. It's healthy, it's clean, it's your afternoon snack. We have the data, product market fit, we have it. We need you to blow up this brand. Make it as noisy as you can, make people fall in love with the company, build a community. And I looked at them and I said, first I said, fuck no. And the reason why I said that was because I said, go to the grocery store. And I respect IGA, Metro, they're clients of ours and partners, and they're amazing. But if there's 30 to 40,000 different products on a store shelf. So I said to them, how do you expect to beat out those products? Marketing, you're going to need hundreds of millions of dollars. Hershey's, great company. I'm a fan of them. We've had our own disputes with them, but they spend money to get the placements in the store and the marketing to push to you. So the problem is, I said, we have no chance. Even if we're the better product, the healthiest product, we need to get your attention to then want to buy our product. So they said, that's for you to figure out. And that's when I started, and I said, hey, I've got the best idea.
Cette saison de Startup est propulsée par Sismic Culture d'Impact. Chez Sismic Culture d'Impact, l'entrepreneuriat est au cœur de notre ADN. Chaque jour, on accompagne les organisations dans leurs défis humains et leur désir de faire de leur entreprise une véritable destination. S'engager auprès de la relève entrepreneuriale au Québec est important pour nous. C'est donc avec grand plaisir qu'on soutient le projet de Chloé et Camille et qu'on vous souhaite un bon épisode sur Startup.
Let's build a reality show on entrepreneurship. Kardashians meets Shark Tank meets Elon Musk, and let's launch the company. And that's what we did in August 2018. We launched Midday Squares, and it's been a journey since.
I think like you really success of like creating this buzz around Midday Squares. When I first started seeing you on social media, I thought you were an American like business.
Everyone does.
Yes.
And you have, and I wanted to touch on that point. Like you have a really American approach. It's
important.
It makes it look much bigger actually.
Well, the importance is like, look, we're proud to be from Quebec, and Quebec is where we were born in Montreal. So we felt that Montreal is lacking businesses that go global. So you have some amazing businesses like Saputo, you have Molson, you have Essence, you have some Couche-Tard. Like you have some great businesses here. But in the last 10 years, have we seen a massive business come from Quebec and grow across the globe, but then represent Quebec. And what I mean by representing Quebec is there's nothing more powerful than building a business for your hometown. Because, you know, if you look at Nike's a great brand. They built Oregon where they started. They built this brand there and they've made it part of their culture and part of who they are to expand globally, but again, represent who they are back home. You know, you look at Pennsylvania, where the state of Pennsylvania, Hershey's is from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Hershey's built a multi-billion-dollar, tens of billions-dollar business in Hershey, Pennsylvania that goes global. So for us, our vision was always do it here, build it in Montreal where we're from, because we're proud to be from here, but make it a brand that is relevant in multiple countries. So if we were to just make it a brand for Quebec, it wouldn't necessarily be relevant in China one day, or, you know, Middle East, or you know, South America, United States, and Canada. For us, we said, how do we get the United States excited about this brand? Because if they're excited, they'll start the domino effect very quickly, because there's 370 or 360 million people. It's a lot of money and business that you could build there. So that was what we created. And we said, hey, if we market it like that, then we'll be able to be a brand that's known everywhere rather than just in Canada or whatever. And still this date, you know, right now our business is about 55% United States, 45 Canada, but that keeps going up. And by the end of this year, it will be about 65% United States, 35% Canada. So we're moving more and more out to there because the volume is crazy in the United States. It's powerful. And we're going to keep the business here. So we export, but we bring the dollars back into Quebec, which is something good. You create more jobs here. You do things like that. And I think that that's something that, again, we're lacking something fun out of here, something that's crazy, cool, young, hip, trendy, something that will make a mark. Like, we want Montreal to not just be known for beer and cheese and, you know, stuff like that. And we want it to be known for, hey, can we be a chocolate company that came from here and built it globally? And I met with Alain Bouchard, who's Couche-Tard's, he's a legend. And like, what he's done with Couche-Tard is fascinating. They're a business that's not just in Quebec and not just in Canada, but they're in all over the world.
I don't know that.
I
didn't know. No?
They have different names under. It's not Couche-Tard in China or something like that. In the US, it's named something else too. But they're one of the largest convenience stores in the world. Wow. And it's fascinating because it's from here. Nice. And that inspires me to want to be an entrepreneur from here, right? So if we can inspire more people to take risk and be themselves from here and build this ecosystem of Quebec up further, then we win, right? We all win. Yes. And there's nothing more when I grow a family. I know you said you had a kid. Yeah. I don't have a kid yet, but I'd like to have a family one day, is to have a great ecosystem of entrepreneurship where you have a culture where people take the risk and they build businesses, but people here invest in people here. My goal is to take the capital I make one day and invest in the entrepreneurs here in Montreal and Quebec and grow it, because I feel like the funding isn't fully there. Also, we had to our money that we raised for our company, we raised 17 million USD to date from private investors, and then 4 from our government, which is, they've been very good. But the 17 million, 80% is from the United States. So if we make a massive outcome, whether we IPO the company, whether we sell the company, think about how much money is going to leave Quebec and go to these investors in United States, which they're great. But what if we would have brought that all here? It would have been so much more powerful, right? So that's why we have expanded a mainstream brand rather than, hey, let's do it regional and build it more here. Because you're right, people don't even know we're from here, which is so stupid, because at the end of the day, we're here all the time. Like, I travel a lot, but at the end of the day, if you come to our factory, you'd be fascinated. It's a beautiful factory.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, we're a team of 60 right now, but hopefully one day be 1,000, you know, here, which is a pretty big employer for a city, you know.
Why do you think like Quebec businesses don't go global? Because I think that's really interesting. Like, it's true, because like, for example, Lululemon is Canadian and now it's global and it's really big, and there's a lot of other businesses. But as you said, like in the last 10 years, I don't know much businesses that went global. So why do you think so?
I think it's hard. I think the capital it takes to build a business, first in the United States, forget about Canada, just heading to the United States across the border, we're Western culture, but we're very different in how we purchase and in what we kind of like at a deep level, how we behave. It's very different, right? So understanding that culture is very difficult, and spending the money to actually support it is really hard. If you win just in New York, doesn't mean you're going to win in Florida, Texas, California.
That's
it's
really
hard.
Different from here.
Exactly. So if you go national, the amount of money you need to support the awareness, that it's crazy. Canada's a 10th of the size of the United States. So a lot of businesses try and then they retract from Quebec because they're like, we don't have the support, it's too hard, it's too costly. So I think the way that we did it was we approached it, how can we connect deeply to consumers so that they love the brand and then they fall in love with the product. So we bring them into an ecosystem, and that way we're winning on organic content creation. We're winning on the idea of where we're not spending to get attention. We're actually bringing you in to opt into our business, feel part of our journey. And what's happening with that is then you're like, oh, well, I want to buy the product because I want to support. Where's it available? And when we put it available, we didn't just put in 50,000 stores in the United States. We went slowly to start expanding this business. So we started originally in California. We started growing there. And then eventually we went to 23 different states with a retailer. But we're only in 7,500 stores across Canada and the United States. Some of our competitors are in 60,000, 60. Wow. So we didn't rush. We took our time to build the awareness at the same time as build the retail relationships in depth. And I think a lot of Quebec businesses, they keep the same marketing for here that's different than for United States. We're very different. Quebec has a unique culture that's beautiful. Yes. We have one of the best cultures in the world, by the way. I travel everywhere from the United States to Europe. Quebec is the only one that is different in the sense where people are very relaxed, very laid back. There's a lot of joie de vivre, as they say. But it's a beautiful city too, Montreal. Like Montreal is one of the nicest looking cities in the world. And it's just, all I wished for is that we had more of an ecosystem to push entrepreneurship up. That's the last thing it's missing. But if you go to a city like Toronto, great city, but not the same as Montreal. It doesn't have the tight culture or the community.
Yes. People here are like bienveillants. Yes. Like they care for that's what I always
feel close
hear.
To each other.
Yeah.
Boom.
Like people are really nice and I totally agree with what you're saying. And earlier you mentioned that your sister and your brother-in-law always wanted to have a business together. So how has it been to not only work with your sister and your family, but for them, like to be working as a couple? I know you mentioned like you go to therapy. You've been going to therapy together, the three of you.
Oh, so day one of the business, we made 2 agreements. So August 2018, the 3 of us came together. And the first agreement was, if we were going to win and build over $100 million business here, we needed to get on camera. I said to my partners, my idea is we got to create a reality show. We're going to take our iPhones out. We're going to film everything. They're introverted. They didn't want to be on camera. They didn't want to show their private life. But I said, listen, if we want to win, we have to do this. And we have to be real on camera. We can't just make up shit and be inauthentic. It's going to be weird, cringe. So they said to me, well, we're not going to do that. We don't want to be part of that. And I said, well, you brought me on for this reason. So you either accept, you don't accept. So I need you to sign off that you're going to stay for the next 3 months. You're going to give it your all to get on camera and share it, private stuff. At home, not like sex life and stuff, but
camera in the room 24/7.
No, exactly. But arguments, like things that are relevant to business that you don't necessarily want everyone to see in your life, but is powerful to show, you show. So that was number one. They signed that. The thing that they suggested that I had to sign to join the company was that we would go see a therapist once a week in good or bad times. What that meant was, every week, we would go sit through therapy and have hard conversations together about life, about business, about things that are going on in our lives that are difficult, our personal lives, our business life. And the idea was to strengthen and protect the partnership as both business partners, but also as family members. And I looked at them at first, and I was naive at the time, so I didn't really believe in therapy. And the reason why I didn't believe in it is I was in a fraternity, I was in high-level sports. I was like, I'm the happiest person in the world, even though I was the most unhappy at the time, actually. And I thought that therapy meant weakness, but I was so dumb and so stupid at the time. And I ended up I said, I'll commit to 5 sessions. So I committed to those 5 sessions, and ever since then, I've fallen in love with therapy. This morning, we had an hour and a half therapy session with my partners, and it's the best thing ever. And we go once a week minimum, sometimes twice a week. Wow. And we invest $50,000 to $70,000 a year on mental health, on the therapy aspect, because without it, we would not be partners. And it has protected our family relationship and our partnership. And again, it's made me realize that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be real and not be scared to share your emotions and work through them, because the more you hold in, the more tension that builds up, and the more you hate someone or dislike someone, right? And that's what we did. So we did that since day one, and I haven't looked back. But we didn't go into business because we're family. It's important that we say this. We went into business because we all have different skill sets. And when you put them together, it's a strong tripod.
And would you like suggest to other people?
No, I suggest only if you guys work well together. Like I'm sure you guys are friends, right?
Yes.
So even with friends like family. You guys have a deep relationship.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta protect that because that's something. A friendship that's real is powerful. You know, you could be there at hard times, good times. It's someone that's part of your corner, your boxing corner. You know, you don't want to lose that for a business, and it happens because business has capital involved. It has a vision. If one person wants something and the other person wants that and doesn't talk about it, it will just go like this and eventually explode. And then you lose a friendship. So for us, I always say to people, if the person makes sense and you work well together and you have different skills or you're very aligned, it's worth it. If you're not, don't go with family or friends because you're really jeopardizing a high risk of losing the friendship because the pressure of building a business or doing something cool is very hard.
Yes.
So you've never necessarily seen each other in stressful modes together at that level. Maybe you've been through hard times together and worked through them. But when you're at that pressure level with stress, money, all that stuff, things change.
Yes.
So I don't recommend it unless you protect the partnership through therapy or you protect it through, you know, levers, like just like have tools that you're willing to commit to and not forget about and just push to the side.
Yes.
Do you feel like you were well aware of the risk you were taking?
No.
Who is aware of the risk?
My partners were.
Yeah.
So my partners,
Okay.
they've been seeing therapy for 12 years.
Okay,
so
nice.
they it's not new to them. And I thought, again, I felt uncomfortable because I was like, it means that I'm weak. But it's the opposite. It means you're strong, if anything. And they knew that the risk of this partnership, and they actually spoke to my parents because our family is very close as family. And my parents were uncomfortable at first. We're like, what if this ruins a relationship? And my brother-in-law, Nick, who actually put his foot down, he's like, I will sign my life off today to show you that, to tell my father this, and my mother, that I will protect this partnership and we will protect it as much as possible. And if we feel like it's anywhere going off track, even if we're making $1 billion, we're going to leave. Because at the end of the day, it's not worth it unless you end up as family after, because family is really a lot of the time, and some people unfortunately don't have great family, but we and my family have a great family that's close. I wouldn't want to lose it for anything. And I think that keeps me going in life and keeps me inspired to be with them. Like even we talked about going up to cottages and stuff like that, nature.
Yeah.
I love doing it with my family. I used to love it, just throw big parties and stuff like that, but I've changed my mentality where I enjoy the time with the people I care about. So if I didn't have that, I'd be very, very sad.
No, I totally agree.
We see your mom a lot in your, I don't know how to vlog. She signs all the cards at last, every single month.
700,000+.
Oh my God.
She's the best.
I thought it was only last December.
No, so we've been sending, you're talking about the Polaroid. So we've been sending a picture with every first order. A customer gets a picture of the three of us so they get to see us and know us with a handwritten note from my mother, who does it because she loves to help. We tried to pay her. She doesn't want to get paid. So we've given her shares in the company, and she almost didn't even accept those, which was crazy. Yeah. But she does it every night. So every night from like 7 p.m. I think she used to do it till 11 p.m. Now she does it till like 9 p.m. Yeah. But she gets the thrill of helping her kids, right? And without that, we would lose a big personalization that we have with our business, because to scale, that's very difficult. You know, imagine you'd have to hire a bunch of people. She does it out of the bottom of her heart for the love of her kids, and we're grateful for her. But she loves being on camera. She loves being on the vlogs because we call her the Polaroid Queen. And no, we love her, and without her, this business also wouldn't be possible, because she's been a great mother. And mothers, you're a
lot of support.
It's super important, and
of course.
You know, I complain to her all the time.
You call her
when my sister's acting up. If it's not that serious, I don't call my therapist. But I call my mom. I go, Ma. I go, Leslie's acting up. I can't deal with her today. And my mom calms me down. So
that's the role of a mom.
Yeah.
That's really
mothers
nice.
are the best. Shout out to all the mothers in the world. And your mom's a dope entrepreneur too.
Of course.
And so obviously, like being an entrepreneur and whatever you do in life comes with a lot of mental health struggles. And you mentioned last January that you felt at your lowest. You said that you were feeling at 0%. And we kind of wanted to talk about that because we think it's really interesting. And you had mentioned you were wishing to be back at 100% in September, which is pretty much
Oh, shoot. We're here today. So, wow. Okay, so this is really important.
Reality check.
I'll give you the date, the check today. But January 2023, I went through a phase of my life where I was on top of the world. So I felt like I was in a phase where I was on TV all the time. I was on radio. I was on, podcasts, magazines. I was winning awards. I was in this like superficial life that didn't feel authentic. And I was doing everything again in my life like I was doing when I was a kid for everyone else. I wanted to show everyone that, hey, look at me today. Look at all this success in quotations. And it's not even that success yet. I felt like I haven't even done a lot yet. But I've accomplished certain things I wanted to. And I didn't want to lose it. So I did everything in my power to receive that dopamine more and more and more. And what that meant was, go get another magazine, go do this, go try to get attention here, get virality on TikTok. We were getting like 2 to 10 million views per video on TikTok, which is crazy. And I was getting stopped in the streets. I was in magazines. And I was so scared to lose it that I was on this like stilts. I was kind of like, anything I did was like, it would all fall. And then January 16th of 2023, I fell playing hockey outside. I was playing ice hockey. I play a lot to release stress. And I fell and I hurt my back. And that was a brutal moment where I didn't know how serious the back injury was at the time, but I was like, oh, you're 2-3 weeks, you'll be out, it's fine. And I hurt my back, and then slowly I started to have to rest and not be able to work out anymore, not be able to jump around and get on planes every day because I was flying everywhere across the world. And it slowed me down to think. And I had to start thinking about like, what's going on in my life? And I also got engaged in December of 2022. So right before that, so my whole life was on fire.
Dopamine, yeah.
Dopamine was on. I was on like, it felt like drugs. I've never done drugs, but like, it felt like drugs. It felt like cocaine 24/7. And again, I never did cocaine. It's just describing what people explain.
That's fine.
But it was crazy. I got hurt, and then I started to think about my thoughts, and I had to slow my life down. I was on full speed, full send, and then I sat down, and I was a month, 2 months in pain physically because my body was hurting. And mentally, I started to be really pain because I was like, wow, I'm alone now. And I'm not on top of the world. I'm feeling like, what's the point of life? Like I started feeling like I didn't care to wake up. And I went through it, and then I eventually went to California. I got back on what I usually do when I'm in pain, like in life pain, I would just get up and keep going, right? The treadmill just keeps going, right?
Be in action.
Yeah. And then get more dopamine and then more dopamine. So I tried to get dopamine by going to a massive trade show in California to get that dopamine hit. And I went, and my body just fucking collapsed. Like it was like the pains were so bad. I was in my hotel room crying, and I just broke. And I said to myself, I want to give up on everything. And I never felt so low. And that was February or March, I think. Beginning of March. And I ended up coming home. I left California. I left the trade show. I left the business. I didn't care what I was doing. I said I came home and I went on a sabbatical. I decided that I was burnt out and that I needed a lot of help because I was miserable. I felt deep loneliness. I felt like I was never going to get better in terms of the pain that I was physically feeling. I felt like I lost my identity. What if I can never do anything again? And I went through 36 or 37 days of therapy straight. I took off work. And I want to find myself. And what I learned during that time was that I never knew how to be alone with myself. I never knew how to be okay with nothing. Like what I mean by nothing is not like being able to just sit in your room and be okay with that. Like sit at home on a Friday night and do nothing. Like and think and enjoy that moment. I always wanted the dopamine. And what this did was it forced me to stay back and sit and learn. And I struggled and I went through it. And then I slowly came back to work and I was like 10%, 15%, 30%. And then right now, I would say after coming, and I still do the therapy and all that stuff and, a bunch of physio, osteo and stuff like that, and I slowed down a little bit, I think I'm at like 75% today. Nice. So I haven't hit 100%. And the reason I haven't hit 100% is because I'm still physically dealing with the pain. So I'm physically getting better, but like I'm doing a lot of work to get there. But mentally, I'm feeling tired. So I'm feeling tired in business. Like we've been running this treadmill for 5 years, and there's a lot, like we're doing a lot of cool things. Like, like we've had a lot of big wins, but it's becoming very tiring because as you scale, you deal with a lot more pressure and you deal with a lot more other stupidity bureaucracies, and bureaucracy kills me.
Oh, yes.
So that's where I kind of got to figure out myself, but I've learned to be a little bit more present in life and slow down and listen to my body when it's failing, because your body does fail at times. At times you can't just go 100% all the time or 150%. But I don't know. It's been a journey, and I'm not perfect, and my partners aren't either. And we've been in the last 2 weeks in a bit of a down phase, because at the end of the day, it's like you build something so special, but then you get betrayed. You deal with it. Some sort of stupidity gets hit with you, and like you're just like you have to deal with it, right? You can't just. It doesn't just sit there. It doesn't go away. And we had some stuff with we were dealing with a big case that we ended up winning, but that took like a month and a half of anxiety and stress. And I just said to myself, like, how much more can I take of the bullets? Like, how many more bullets can you take? you know, I could act tough all I want, but at what point am I resting and relaxing? And I mean by relaxing is just living life in a way where it's very calm. And it sounds euphoric and it sounds like it's not possible, but it is. I think at one point, a lot of successful entrepreneurs or people that are very successful professionals take a step back and they kind of like disappear. Not like, they just get off the grid and then they slowly fade into like their own way of life. And that's what I really want to get to eventually, or go into politics, which... So that's the opposite direction.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, no one expects it.
Surprise like, politics,
so
my God.
I would start like city politics and then like eventually hopefully go up and like I want to help, again, the ecosystem we talked about, entrepreneurship and build it, right? So that's two ways. That would mean I need to get back on that energy train. But the other way is to slowly like, you know, just be okay with like being in nature all the time. Like I swear it sounds weird.
Oh no, it doesn't.
No.
But I've come to that realization.
I relate a lot with what you say because I'm a party girl.
Me too. I'm ready to party right now if you want to go.
I'm a PR person, so when you carbure with people, it's hard to think that being alone will recharge you. So you're alone. Okay, I need to recharge.
Like,
okay, how does it say? I just want to grab my phone and call somebody. Social media and
that's crazy. And like
I relate a lot.
Obviously,
that's what I struggle with. Is what you have. I'm addicted to the dopamine or the energy that I get from people. So, but then you give your energy to everybody. But then what's for you?
Exactly. That's what I'm living my business because I'm a hairdresser. I have a hair salon. Thank you. And I went from hairdressers, like clients all the time, you're the best, I really love my hair, oh my God, it's amazing. I built a very big clientele. And after I became an entrepreneur and all the problems came to me. God. So now I'm not the rock star of hair. I'm just like
patching holes and helping.
Patching
fixing
holes
the fires.
And fixing the fires. But this is cool. So, I feel you.
Well, we're in the same boat. You know, like it becomes a lot less enjoyable because you were the rock star. You're still a rock star, by the way. Just know that you still are.
No, I'm still a rock star,
you
but
kill it.
Not 100% of the time.
Because you're dealing with things that you don't necessarily like doing.
Yes.
And me too. Like this is a big conversation is that a lot of entrepreneurs have to do things that they don't want to do to make their dream or their vision come to reality. The problem with that is eventually there's a fine line is how much can you take before you give it all up? And you're like, I want to just throw the keys in because I'm like, you don't want the problems anymore. Because life is not supposed to be problematic, to be honest with you. Life is supposed to be this place where you're not just sitting at home all day and do nothing, but you evolve by enjoying and like living, like enjoying the process, but living through it. And like, I think that we've all become so stressed and so hyped up. And the problem is like, if you were just doing the hair stuff back to before, you'd probably love it, but then you still want more because you have this big vision. Then you wouldn't meet your fulfillment of your vision. So it's this double-edged sword where you're like, well, what do I do? So this is what I'm kind of experiencing because like my vision is to get out and just inspire people. That's like, but I'm also building a chocolate business. So like, that's really what allows me to do more of this and gets me paid. But this is causing so much anxiety and stress that I need to figure out the balance on how am I okay with just present moment? And if you're okay with that, it will calm you down and then you'll be able to execute on, I guess, the fires or the patching that you have to do, which is not so fun.
But fire is not that bad at a hair salon.
No?
No, not being sued by anybody.
Legal stuff isn't good.
But it's different. Like at the end of the day, I think that the biggest challenge is dealing with humans. I don't know about you, but like you have 60 employees.
It's hard.
That's really hard.
That's the hardest part of the job.
It's the hardest thing because humans are complex and they have their own struggles. And I get it. We all come from different cultures. We come from different families we're brought up in. But the problem is you try to bring together a group of people to build a vision, but then this is a problem, that's a problem. Next thing you know, it takes the enjoyment a lot of time out of the process of building a business that you want to build, your vision. It starts to change completely. And hiring's hard. Like we're trying to hire a bunch of people now and we're struggling. And we have a great culture. Like we work really hard. It's a really hard environment for like, we're trying to achieve growth, very fast growth, but it's an environment where you could be yourself unapologetically. You could have fun. You could, it's a modern company, but we still can't find people. No one wants to work. So it's a fucked up environment, excuse my language. And like that causes you to dislike the whole experience because you're like, well, what's the point of this whole thing? Right?
Yes, because we lose our inspiring thing. Like you just leave the bureau, the desk from a meeting, people crying from an hour in front of you, and you're like, okay, I need to be the show again. Let's go, boom.
And then you put on then you start to be inauthentic because you're like, well, I need to give the energy, but I can't. Like, that's why I had the burnout. I was giving people an immense amount of energy, and I wasn't recharging at all. Yeah. There was no recharge. I'd come home, and I got married in June, and my wife's been a great supporter, and she's quiet. She's opposite me. Like, I'm like loud and obnoxious. She's like a good person, but I would come home and I can't talk. I would sit there brain dead. And she's like, how is this a relationship for me? And I realized, I realized that it's unfair to her, because think about it. A relationship's not a one-way road. A relationship is a two-way road. And if I'm coming home and she's excited to talk about her day and I'm just there sitting there and I'm breathing. I'm like, I just want to sleep, or I want to just close my eyes, go in a bath. I don't know. It's not fair. And I start to say, I hate who I become, because I become a person that pleases everyone else, even though I'm the energizer bunny, happy person, this, that. But I lost myself. Mm-hmm. So it's a dangerous game, and entrepreneurship questions that, because you start to go on paths that might not be authentic to who you are. And what happens is eventually it's like you've gone so far and you're like, where's my identity? And then you want to go back, and it's like a mission to get back, right? So anyways, energy is, you have to figure out how to recharge yourself and take care of yourself before, I believe, taking care of others. I mean, that's an unpopular opinion, but if you don't have to take care of yourself, then how can you be good to other people?
Oh, that's for sure.
How can you be to your employees, to your relationships, your family, to the podcast you go on,
for sure. And like having a role in Midday Squares that constantly like asks you to be out there and like do PR, and as you said, like your partners, they're more introvert. You're the one that like they expect you to go out and do everything. Like you know what I mean? Are you worried? Are you anticipating the day you'll need to take a step back, or you've come to accept it and you're getting ready for that?
So for me, I think my partners are phenomenal operators. So they love building business. They're great at manufacturing. They're great at finance. Like anything that you can imagine. They want to get more on the road and be out there a little bit more public, but I don't know how much I don't know how much they'll actually like it, to be honest with you. I think that they like the idea of it, but I think that they're truly, their skill set and their love for what they're doing is building something. My love is not building something. My love is inspiring and creating. And what I mean by that is like going out there, getting people excited. Like my vision in life and mission is to completely spread energy that makes you feel like you could achieve anything you want, because I was an academic that did terrible. I did a terrible academic, but I'm building a $100+ million business by not following the typical playbook, by going the opposite way, by being myself. If I could show people around the world that you could do that by being yourself and do whatever you want, then I've accomplished what I want. The problem is how do I continue to do that while staying energized and still building Midday Squares as a community? It's very tough. So I'm in this moment right now. I'm trying to figure that all out. And again, it's going to take a lifelong lesson of figuring that out, because every day's, as long as I progress every day small, it's good. Momentum builds. But I don't know, like for me, I still have the energy to go and be that person, but I don't know when that will crash, because if I do another burnout, I'm done. Like there's no chance like I can come back from it.
That's the thing, like you've had one burnout,
and it has effects. It has real effects.
It's really hard. And like you said, it started in it didn't start, but like you officially took a break in spring, but like it's only been 6 months. Like it's really hard, because when you're an entrepreneur, you're expected to come back and you kind of have to do it, but you need to take time for yourself. And as you said, you don't want to get another burnout, because you won't be able to come back. So you have to like put some things in place.
Boundaries,
exactly.
I also need, like, here's a big thing, like I just want to win so badly. So like I look at Michael Jordan, he's the GOAT of basketball, the greatest of all time, right? And he wasn't the nicest person, but he was the greatest at his sport, and he was the championships and all stuff. But when I watch him, I see that he sacrificed a lot of himself. He did what he had to do to get it done, and he wanted to win so badly. Him and like someone like Kobe Bryant, they wanted so much that they were willing to do anything in the world to make it happen. I have that in me. I'm not the GOAT like that, obviously, but I have that mentality where I need to win big. And what I mean is like I'm not willing to stop till I am, but it's a dangerous thing, because when you have that, you're willing to sacrifice to make it all happen, and that's when burnouts happen. That's when you get unhealthy, and like so. I have to learn today, and I'm doing it with therapy, and I'm doing it with like a lot of reading and understanding myself more, is to figure out my ways to, how do I sustain winning, trying to become a big winner, but also not needing to be the GOAT or the greatest of all time and have to prove to everyone, like, why can't I just flow with it? Because if you're right, I'm on a thin ice right now. If I have a burnout again, I'm in trouble because I'm barely standing today. Like even my life, like I'm injured still, so I'm hurting, and my injury's not getting better because my subconscious body is so stressed, so the muscles tighten, and it can't just release. And the reason why is because I want to overachieve, and I think that social media is a big reason of why. Like but like I need to be more okay with me, and just what if I don't? It's okay. Like, and right now I'm still not there yet. So right now I want to be like I still want to win awards. I still want, and that's more of an ego thing.
but that's the thing. Like I feel like growing up with my mom, like she's always had her business, and seeing that, like you get really I saw her get like really tired of the work and all of that. But at the same time, it's kind of like a spiral, and you cannot really get out unless you decide to like completely exit, because people will always be expecting from you, like you build the business, like it's Jake's space that we always see,
and I'm responsible for it. But if I say something, I can get in trouble. The business can get in trouble. Here's the thing. Politics, great example. That's why I'm not going into politics till later. But any side you choose in politics, some will like you, some will not like you. That means if I'm associated with a brand, Midday Squares, they're not going to buy my product if they don't like some people will not buy the product, which hurts the business, but that's unfair. So even if I'm out of the business, so the problem is I'm always on high alert with what I say. I'm being recorded a lot of the time, which is fine. And I'm a good person. I'm a kind person. Like, like if you look at me, if you get to know me, if you ask my friends,
we can see it. You're really
I'm genuine. But here's the thing. I'll give you a great example of how hard it is to do this position. And some people don't understand is because I go Thursday night, this last Thursday night, I went to a place called Marcus. It's a great bar.
Yeah.
And I went with some friends, and I just wanted to have I literally want to just chill and have a beer and just meet some people. Friendly. I like meeting people. And I didn't want to have put on a show and all that stuff. And I get there and we're having fun. And slowly people start coming up to me and it's like, oh my God, we love the brand. And right away my brain triggers, because then it's like, okay, well, now I'm on high alert because I'm like, this person's a customer, a fan of ours. What if I did something like childish and like they didn't like it? Like, and like, I mean, childish, like, I mean, like, like yell and laugh and scream and dance, like weird emotions. And then another person, oh my God, we're big fans of the brand. And I was like, fuck. So I went home that day, and that night, and I was like, what the hell just happened? And what made me scared was how much my identity is attached to this business, because there's real consequences if I do something. If I do something, I have investors, I have team members that are reliant on our company, that get paid a salary, put food on their table, and I have people that expect that the company should win. And so I'm also limited in like how I behave, and I'm an immature guy. I'm like a child. Like I was a class clown. I still am the class clown. But some people interpret it weirdly, like, oh, this person's obnoxious or this, that. So guess what? I limit myself certain now in environments, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not being myself. Like that's not who I am. And like I loved having the fans that they love. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's an ego boost, and it's amazing to see that what we've built. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you don't want to talk business at all. No. Sometimes you just want to have a conversation. Say like, I want to get to know you. Yes. I want to understand, what do you love? Like, and like that inspires me and energizes me because I'm listening and I'm actually on the other side of the platform, or I'm on the other side of life, where instead I'm pitching and preaching and joyful and making you feel something, I want you to make me feel something.
Yes.
So I don't know, it's a tough gig. I'm grateful for it though.
I think it's like a natural process though. Yes. Like you cannot go faster.
I think kids help.
It's dangerous.
With kids, and I have animals.
How many animals do you have?
I have a horse and a dog. And I think you should in East Angus,
in the ranch.
Okay, it's not with you.
No, it's not with me, but it's 4 minutes from my home. And I went like in 2 days. And if I don't went, I became another person.
Really, it mentally helps you mentally.
Yes, and horses are like a mirror of how you feel. So when you horseback, the horse just pitch you in the face what you're feeling inside, even if you're not aware.
That's scary.
Yes, that's really scary.
So you have to feel good when you're going on that horse. You got to relax, chill.
Yes, but it's helped us to be in the moment present, and the dog is the same thing, and the child too, because
how old is your child?
11 years old.
So you're close with your child. That's a good age.
Yes,
that's a nice age.
Yes, really nice age. He went to high school next year,
he's going
to high school
but
next year.
It makes you happy. It gives you purpose. It gives you like an idea.
Of course.
You see that and you're like, it puts you back into place. I
Well,
can't
that's the thing. Like, I get what... No, I don't. I'm way too young, but I get what you mean.
James...
What? Yeah. Never mind.
The age of Chloe is like the mystery of the podcast.
Yeah.
How old are you?
It's a secret.
It's a secret?
Yeah. But anyways...
How old are you?
I'm 31.
I'm 30.
Where I wanted to get is that when you have a child, it gives you another purpose, because as you're mentioning, like right now you've put all your energy in midday squares, and it's kind of like part of it's who you are, and you're wondering, who am I without midday squares? And
it's a scary question.
Yeah, it is, totally. And once you'll have kids, you have your wife, then you start like getting a second identity with them. But man, like without that, you put all your energy in midday squares
every day of my life.
Yeah. Like imagine no midday squares tomorrow.
I don't know what that feels like, and I'm scared, but we've been bringing that question up now in therapy to have that conversation as the three of us, my partners, because God forbid something does happen, we have to be able to kill it in life still, no matter what. Like midday squares is something amazing, and it's been an amazing journey. You know, like we've had some crazy experiences of life that I never would have experienced otherwise. I've sat for lunch with, you know, very high level politicians that like I didn't even know who they were at the time, like and then I've been interviewed on live TV many times. I've dreamed of that, but then there's also like that doesn't represent who I am, and I'm struggling personally separating the two, because they're so intertwined, and I put a lot of capital into the business. So I put a lot of hard-earned money that I made on my first business and then stocks into that. So I did not I can't go buy a house because it's locked into the business. Then I've also put my life into, like I preach a lot of things that I believe in that have been part of Midday Squares. Now it's like, what am I without it? But I am something without it. And I don't like all the cheesy stuff and all the stuff, but I've learned more than in the last 5 years than I've learned in 30 years. It's been the craziest experience of my life, and I think that I would be able to win in whatever I do afterwards. Yeah. Whether it's an entrepreneurship journey, whether it's opening a little donut shop just to kill it and have fun because I like donuts. But I've learned so much that it was all worth it no matter what happens. But again, we're still hoping and believing that there's a massive outcome of anything, whether that's the IPO, sell the company, most likely build to a very, very strong business. But at the end of the day, I gotta be okay if it all falls apart tomorrow and still feel like Jake.
It's a really deep...
it's dirty. This could be on we can go on this for hours.
Yes, it's really interesting, and thank you for sharing. Now, let's talk about some cool wins you've had, because there's crazy things you've done. Recently, during this summer, you posted that in one day you shipped 200,000 bars.
It's fucked.
Was this like crazy a surprise, or was it planned?
Half. You know, I think at the time we had a massive influencer. I can't remember, post our stuff. I can't remember who it was.
Kim Kardashian?
No, it wasn't Kim K, but Kim K is awesome. First of all, Kim K is a machine. Like, she's a rock star. And like, we're big fans of hers because she is a dope entrepreneur. She hustles. And when we found out that she ate our stuff, that was a huge win, first of all, and posted it, and I was on an interview with Vogue and took out our product for free. We don't even talk to her. Like, we were freaking the fuck out. Like,
of course.
It was, the whole city was, we had every news article. It was crazy. And the cool thing was we asked her, she has a fund, and she doesn't do that. She does not do that for free for a lot of companies, meaning that she eats it regularly. And that was like, my sister's inspiration was Kim K. So it was kind of really cool for her to have that moment specifically. And like, again, maybe hopefully one day we could work with her. That would be really cool. But that was a big one. But you're talking about the 200,000 bars out the door. That's what was so cool about that was when we started in August of 2018, imagine this. We were making 80 bars per day.
Oh my God.
That's less than 5 years ago. At the time, it was less than 5 years ago. That from 80 to shipping out 200,000 that day, we only make 50 to 60,000 a day, but that's huge. If you just think about the work and how is it even possible? Like, we were a little baby company selling, again, like 20 bars a day at the time. It was only 20 bars. We were making 80, but it was selling 20. It's a big change. So it was a surreal moment like that. And it just goes to show that nothing's impossible in life. It's hard to get it to there, and not everyone wants to put the work in or the hard work in, and I get it. You don't need to do that in life. You don't necessarily have to accomplish crazy shit to be happy. I think to be happy, you need to just fulfill whatever you want to do. But for us, we really have a goal and we want to get there and we're not there yet. But those are moments that give us the momentum to make us feel like, shit, it's all worth it. All the pain, all the hardships, you get to do that. You get to see a team that comes together and fucking could operate 200,000. Think about the Bell Center. That's 20,000 people in the stadium. Think of 10 Bell Centers full.
Oh my God.
Canadian sold out games, 10 of them. That's how much went out that door.
Oh, that's amazing. That's crazy. And you mentioned the Kim Kardashian thing. We have to talk about this because that's, I mean, it's crazy.
I sent it to Chloe. I was like, oh my God, were like, did you see?
What's going on? And what we were curious to know is, you did a video saying that right after there was not necessarily a big spike, but now from a step back, has there been a spike?
So there's definitely a spike. She didn't tag us in the video because we didn't have agreement. There was no deal structure. But what it was what was really cool about the Kim thing was our base, our community was really excited about it. So what it did was it got the people that love the brand even more love for the brand, saying, wow, this is so cool. Like, she does not promote products typically. So it goes to show that like a product that they consume, a Montreal brand, a small company in Montreal, is being shared by one of the largest iconic figures, in my opinion, of the last 20 years.
Yes.
And that's a cool moment. So it amped up our base. It got all this PR. We got a ton of PR, which equivalent to like hundreds of thousands, maybe not, maybe millions of views over time. And our retailers and our partners and our investors got so excited that they helped us more. So that was where the spike is. So over time, yes, there was a major spike, but it wasn't like, okay, hey, she tagged Midday Squares and said, hey, go buy them.
Yeah.
She said, I love Midday Squares. I eat these all the time. It would have been very different of a spike. You would have seen an initial push. We saw more of a longevity push and people more fired up. And till this day, everyone brings it up. So anywhere we go, it's like, oh my God, Kim eats your stuff. And it's like, yeah, that fires us up because that's like, yeah, like we're also fans of hers, right?
It gives you like credibility. Yes. That's really important.
I'm saying all of like all these news articles wrote about us. They were all fired up. All these radios were talking about us. And again, she doesn't do it often. So like, it was kind of cool for us, the three of us and our team, to be like fired up that the product that they make, my team that makes the product, they worked so hard to make it, was picked up naturally by one of the largest celebrities in the world. And maybe one day, hopefully, Kim K can invest in Midday Squares. That would be cool.
Wow.
Maybe she's listening.
What will happen?
Yeah.
Having Kim Kardashian know like who you are.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's already crazy. Now, like she consumes the product and she shouted out in a Vogue interview.
Yeah, and
your
it was
sister
so cool.
must have been like
freaking.
My God.
And no, she's a cool person. And like, there's some other cool people that have eaten our products, and we know because they've told us. They haven't posted about it, but like they've told us, some celebrities and politicians, some here that are very well known. But for us, the coolest part about this journey is not even the celebrity stuff. I think it's the people that like, forget about celebrities and politicians and big investors, billionaires and stuff like that. It's actually the everyday people, because that's people when I go to markets, I get to see and hang out with and see who's buying the product. Like, I would have never thought that we have some old ladies that are like 78 years old, messages on Facebook, pictures of them on their porch, eating the snack, being like, this made my day. And like, that fires us up, because I think about my grandmother, how like, if I can make her happy with a snack in the middle of the day and she could be fired up by that, then we've accomplished something really cool,
right?
It's
the community.
Yes. Community, because it's really so cool. hard to build an authentic community. You can pay for a celebrity to post your product, by the way. If you have the capital, you can do it. You can't buy a community. I can't buy you to be a fan of Midday Squares or what we're doing. I could maybe get you to try the product. I could pay you to post about it. But to have people care about something and want to help, like when we have a problem in our business and we share with our community, they help. Like, there's no question. It's not about payment. It's about how can we help you? How we've gotten our investors, a lot of them have been from our customers. How we've gotten retailers, from our customers. How we've gone in the press, customers. Because they want to help us because they believe in what we're doing. And again, they respect the hustle that we put in and the love and care, which I think the world unfortunately doesn't have anymore. I think a lot of businesses today don't care. And it's become just this like commodity driven thing where it's like, even services, like I go to like a drive-through and it's like no one gives a shit. And like, even like, I like Starbucks, but like recently I've been going and like, they just don't care. They mess up. There's no care. It's like, what happened to the days where we're all human and we love each other and want to help each other, or say hi to someone on the street? Like when I went to La Crémière yesterday, and it was in Saint Agathe, which is a small little shop, ice cream shop, local feel, small town feel. Fuck, they were so happy. Like, how are you? Have a good day. Like, you know, like what happened to that? And like, I was happy to pay the $5 for whatever it was. It didn't bother me. I gave a tip on that top of that as well. Like, but when I go through a drive-through and it's just a rush, take it and just go. It's like, where's the service? Where's the, even on airlines, and I'm not gonna say the airline that does it, but like, I go on airlines and like, the treatment is just brutal. Like what happened? And I get that people are also brutal. Like the customers are not nice too, which is a problem as well. But what happened to this world of, you know, we treat each other with love and care, and that's why I hope for our business we can continue to care as a lot about the customer, but also the quality of the product and the integrity of the business.
I feel like if you have a business that is in contact with the clients or whatever, like people, you kind of have to be like human driven if you want to have success. Because if you're financially driven, that's cool, but like I hope your business is not a service or like something like that, because you won't success.
I'm a diehard capitalist. Like I want to make money, and I would do good with it too. By the way, like I told you, my mission after is to invest in Quebec entrepreneurs, because I feel like there's a lack of funding for them. The startup phase ones. The big ones, we have great groups like CDPQ and Fonds Solidaire, and you know there's a lot of capital there, to be honest with you, for larger investments, but. Capitalism can drive the world in a very positive direction if used properly. I think where it goes wrong is capitalism is used to make money and not care. And I think that's where you see some businesses that just don't give a shit. Like, I have a problem with a product, and I'll reach out to customer experience and tell them, and then they answer with like a politically correct, almost AI-driven answer. Which
I always think it's AI.
No, but it's horrible. It's like it's like no, I didn't have. I wanted to ask you. I want a human to talk to, because it's not that I have a problem. I want to know. I'm insecure about something about the product. I'm scared. Can you help? But no, they drive you in different directions. And I've realized that, like, I understand process is important, super important, but let's care for the extra couple cents. Let's care, you know, because it will change everything when we care. Like yesterday, I was up north. I was enjoying myself in nature, and in the morning, I decided to spend 2.5 hours on Monday morning. It was Monday morning, doing work. And what the work was it wasn't something that took. Like I considered work. It was, I looked at the comments of one of our recent posts on Instagram, and I saw so many beautiful comments writing like people that care about what our business is. And what I did was I sent 125 videos to each one of them, 125 different videos. And just the love after reading some of the comments that came back, like after they saw the video, was like, this is why we love you guys. You care, you love, you actually give a shit. And I thought to my head, I said, holy shit. It took me 2 hours, and it wasn't even considered work. It was fun. And I had so much fun. Look how I made those people feel. Maybe not all 125 appreciated it, but 75 out of 125 really were like...
Well, if they commented, they probably appreciated the video.
But it's like, why not take the time to do it? And, you know, set aside 30 minutes a day, putting some extra time into it. And I think that we just got to get back to that as a businesses. You know, obviously there's some businesses that don't need that because it's not a front-facing company. But I don't know, for us, that's a priority right now. And how do we scale that as we still grow to become a large company?
How you do it in other countries and other states? The culture is different. How do you love differently?
It's very hard, but humans generally like getting they like respect, and and generally when we tell our story on social media, it's about hustle, right? So working really hard for something we believe in, everyone respects that in the world. So it's a common denominator. We don't have to really change it for that, but again, some people like. There's different things, like here in Quebec, like, you know, we have a lot of French customers and we speak French to them, right? So like when we call them, all that stuff, they appreciate that, because even they know that we're a business that's outside of Quebec typically, they appreciate the love that's put on that side. Then, you know, we're not gonna do that in Toronto, you know, it's a different business, right? Different model. So we try to sustain as much as like a baseline, but then I try to find something personal on you. So like, let's say you said you had a kid and a dog or and a horse. In our early phases, we would find that you had a horse, and then we'd write you a message about your horse. And the reason why that made you feel that you were cared about and that it wasn't just a transaction. Today, we try to do that to a scaled level because, you know, it's millions of customers. It's not the same as having 10 customers. But we still do it to a certain extent. Like that video that we send every day that I get on and I introduce myself and I send it, takes time out of my day. And I look happy when I'm doing it because I am happy. If I just looked like this and, hey, how are you? Thank you for supporting us. It doesn't. It looks like it's a chore, right? So we try to keep the aspect of friendship rather than transaction.
Caring, as
caring is the. Caring. I think we just need to care more. You guys care about your podcast, right? You can see you're happy, you're excited, you're fired up. You know, you're good people. It comes off. I feel it. Like, you know, even coming in here today, like, you know, like we never met really, right? So, you know, it was welcoming, you were fun, you were energetic, you were passionate about what you did, and I felt that, and that makes me more excited to want to do things with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't have to be like how you talked. It's just
the energy in authenticity too.
It's all it is.
Yeah, and you mentioned having an authentic community, and that's really gonna stick with me. I think it's a really important thing.
Be authentic. It will give you your best chance at winning because people relate to authenticity. Yeah. They could feel it, and people that you'll create a larger distance if you become inauthentic. And again, social media unfortunately shows a lot of perfection.
Yes.
But more and more, I'm seeing people show the other side, which is interesting, and hopefully, one day the whole world can be okay with being themselves and not have to, when I was in my phase, and we talked about in January 2023, is have to be on the front of a magazine to feel validity, to feel like I was wanted or needed. I think working on yourself is important. And once you feel that, you don't care. You don't give a shit. Like, someone sent me a comment today on Instagram. I get trolled all the time because I'm loud and crazy and wild. And it actually affected me today, and I usually never get affected. And it was a weird comment that the person wrote to me. I can't remember. It was just, I don't even want to say it. It was just weird. And it was like, it wasn't so mean, but it was passive, like passive aggressive. And, and it was this morning, and I felt annoyed by it. And I was like, fuck, I worked so hard in my life to not give a shit about that. But it was just, it made me feel sad about humans because it's like, it was a comment about, I posted a certain amount of content this weekend about having fun.
Yes.
And the person was like, this has nothing to do with your business. And it wasn't on my business account. It was on my personal account. They're like, this didn't help you build your business. And I was confused by it because I was like, I'm living and having fun. What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't we just let people be themselves? You want to go rave, have fucking fun, kill it. You want to go travel the world, do you. I'm not judging you, but we judge each other.
And the comments is like, social media is really hard for that, and especially in your case because you take the time to read it. Like most people will say, okay, well, I just won't look. Like I'm gonna turn my comments off or whatever. But like to have this implication with your community, you don't have the choice to read.
I don't have the choice. I have to read.
You go through some good and
there's some
less good ones.
But I listen, I'm usually not affected by it anymore. I've worked through therapy to figure this out because it's not a me problem. It's actually a them problem, right?
Of course.
Once you understand that it's not, even if they say you're ugly, you're this, you're that, whatever they want to say, it doesn't really matter because they're suffering and they're taking it out on you. And unless you're a mean person, that's a different story. I don't think we're all nice people here. So it's a lot of that kind of mindset work that helps. But this morning I fell down from it. I don't know why. It was the first time in a long time that it affected me.
Sometimes when you're feeling a little lower, it affects you. Like it affects you more.
Yeah, or like when you feel that you don't. I want to say it in French, but I will say. When you hustle and you work really, really hard, you're just like, I deserve this time for me. Fuck you. Like, I deserve it.
You're telling the truth. You're right. That's what I fucking felt, actually. This morning, I was like, I'm fucking, I eat dog shit every day. And I could take a moment to enjoy, and like, why do you care if I enjoy it? Why aren't you happy for me?
Of course.
And then I realized why do I even care about that person?
Yeah. And like sometimes you just have to remind yourself that they only see like a small amount of your life and their thought process. Like not only it's a smart part of your life, but it's a smart part of everything they're gonna consume. Like this morning, that guy, he consumed probably like 30 stories, whatever, like 50 posts. Oh, this one, like I'm gonna comment and I'm
exactly, and it's a him problem too.
Yeah, but I get it, and that sucks. Well,
we're okay. We're here today. Both of you fired me up, so.
I hope so. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We're already running out of time. It goes on so quickly, but we're really grateful, and it was really nice meeting you. And your story is really interesting, honestly.
Really inspiring.
And like, there's a lot of cool stuff we did not touch on, but for the people listening, you should totally like Google Midday Squares, and you'll see so many cool like articles and fun stuff. So congratulations for your hard work. And we're wishing you a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, go win. Go win today.
Yes. Yeah, everyone go win.
Go win your day.
Yeah.
Cette saison de Startup est propulsée par Sismic Culture d'Impact.